All right, this is my final presentation for social ethics. All right, so we're going to be running through the Praxis cycle for my issue, which is the disproportionate effects of climate change on Native Americans in the American West and Southwest. All right, so here are the two components of human experience. First step, or the first stage. So the first component is environmental effects. So as you can see here, there's desertification going on in the American Southwest, which basically means, reservoirs are at lower levels for the most part, and average annual temperatures are increasing in many regions. So human effects, population growth in the American Southwest has consistently outpaced that of the country for several decades, and the West, especially the Southwest, where this population growth has been going on, is where many Native Americans live. So as a result of this, they're disproportionately affected by climate change in the Southwest. So social analysis, I go more into depth about this in my paragraphs. So don't be surprised if this is, a bit surface level. I dive more into depth in my paragraphs. So the causes of the environmental situation are, general global climate change and climate change in the West and Southwest. And the social structure at play here, or one of them, a primary social structure at play here, is economic activity, the economy as a social structure. And then the cause of disproportionate impact on Native Americans. One of the primary social structures at play here is demographics. As I mentioned, the West and Southwest is where the majority of Native Americans live. So again, I would go more into depth about this in my paragraphs. These are kind of the, just the social structures that are at play here in these two characteristics, or these two categories, the cause of the environmental situation and the cause of disproportionate impact. All right, so now we move to theological reflection. So two CSTs that are in play here are CST7 and CST6. So CST7 is care for God's creation, and it guides a response to this problem as it demands that all people seek to care for the environment. If all sought to do this, there would not be any negative climate effects to disproportionately affect Native Americans. And this disrupts the general social structure of climate change that is the cause of the environmental situation. And then this is a relevant quote here from Laudato Si: concern for the environment thus needs to be joined to a sincere love for our fellow human beings and an unwavering commitment to resolving the problems of society. So you can really see how that relates to what I was saying before about, how this is really, commitment to CST7 would disrupt the social structures of climate change, especially in the Southwest. So now moving to CST6. What is CST6? It is solidarity. This guides a response to this problem as it demands that we seek to care for others, of all social backgrounds. If everyone sought to do this, to care for everyone, regardless of their social background, then there would be more of a response to Native Americans being disproportionately negatively affected by climate change, which would disrupt the social structures that cause Native Americans to be disproportionately negatively affected by climate change. And then here's a relevant quote from Gaudium et Spes: the joys and hopes, the griefs and anxieties of the men and women of this age, especially those who are poor or in any way afflicted, these are the joys and hopes, the griefs and anxieties of the followers of Christ. So that really touches on how empathy and like a mutual connection has to be at play, which would, in this case, cause like a lot greater concern and action to disrupt these disproportionate negative effects that are occurring. So to move to the last stage, social action. So there's two components here, an interruption of social structure and a fulfillment of CSTs. So the organization I chose to focus on was the Southwest Climate Adaptation Center, which disrupts the social structure of economic activity causing climate change by seeking to better educate people about climate change in the Southwest specifically, with the goal of reducing the negative climate effects people have, which are often through economic activity. So it's really seeking to get at the root cause of these negative climate effects and disrupt the social structure that's often causing them, economic activity. And to touch on how it fulfills the CSTs I previously mentioned. So it fulfills CST7 through, like one of its main goals is seeking to protect and care for the environment, which, is pretty much the bread and butter of CST7. So it's pretty clear that CST7 or, some form of that is pretty core to their agenda. And then CST6, they fulfill CST6 through seeking to empathize and deeply connect with those experiencing climate change in the Southwest. I was looking at their website and I immediately saw, webinars that they were talking about with native speakers or Native American speakers who were, giving presentations on the experiences of Native people with regard to climate change in the Southwest. So they're really seeking to get this mutual understanding as a means of, fulfilling that mutual understanding to disrupt climate change in the Southwest. So that was my presentation. I have my works cited along with my social analysis paragraphs and my outline that I was, using as speaker notes for this presentation. I'll be submitting that as well as this video. Thank you very much.